What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to True Raider Podcast. I'm your host, True Raider, and holy shit, you guys. Holy shit, the Las Vegas Raiders have officially released defensive tackle Christian Wilkins. And I got to tell you guys, I am shocked right now. I am absolutely shocked. I did not see this move coming. You know, there was a whole lot of conversation over the last couple of weeks about if the Raiders should move on from him. And there was reports stating that, you know, the Raiders would eat $76 million if they cut him this year, which I don't know that that's the accurate number, man. There's a whole lot of stuff coming out. This just happened a couple hours ago, right? And, you know, I got home and, you know, I was playing with my kid, man, and, you know, a friend sent me a message with the link, and I said, oh shit, I better go live, man. You know, I was not even paying attention, man. Sam Cox is saying best move. He was a horrible signing. You know, and honestly, I felt like he was kind of overpaid, but I felt like it was a great pickup because of the fact of how much he can make those around him better. He really took away from team's ability to double and triple team Max Crosby and put Max Crosby in a position to succeed, right? And man, this is just like, it's wild, right? So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this article, man, and read this article because let's just get into it. So this is ESPN.com. It says Raiders releasing Christian Wilkins. NFLPA files grievance. So Henderson, Nevada, the Las Vegas Raiders have informed defensive tackle Christian Wilkins that he has been released, the team said Thursday. Wilkins will be released with the designation of terminated vested veteran, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Wilkins has been recovering from a Jones fracture, which he suffered in his left foot last October. Because of how Wilkins has treated the rehab from his injury, the Raiders voided the remaining $35.2 million of guaranteed money left on his contract on June 4th, sources said. The belief was that Wilkins needed another surgery on his foot. He balked at getting it, sources told ESPN. The Raiders then voided the guaranteed money left on his deal due to failure to maintain his physical condition to play. Wilkins had 50 days from June 4th to ask the NFLPA to file a grievance on his behalf, and the union did so Thursday, the last day it was eligible, sources said. The union had no comment Thursday night. The next step after filing a grievance would be a hearing. We have decided that it is in our best interest of the organization to move on from Christian Wilkins, and he has been informed of his release from the team, the Raiders said in a statement. This franchise has a commitment of excellence on and off the field, with no clear path or plan for future return to play for Christian. This transaction is necessary for the entire organization to move forward and prepare for a new season. On Tuesday, Raiders coach Pete Carroll said the 29-year-old defensive lineman's return to the field was uncertain after he was placed on the physically unable to perform list ahead of training camp. During OTAs in May, Carroll said Wilkins was in the midst of a long and challenging rehab process. He was in attendance at the first OTA practice open to reporters, but he did not have a helmet, nor did he participate in drills and the 11-on-11 period. Wilkins was not present for the rest of the Raiders' OTA practices and mandatory minicamp. Last offseason, Wilkins signed a 4-year, $110 million deal with $84.75 million guaranteed with Las Vegas. He had spent the previous 5 seasons with the Miami Dolphins, where he posted a career-best 9 sacks in 2023. He collected 17 tackles, 2 sacks, and 6 quarterback hits in just 5 games before undergoing season-ending surgery for the Jones fracture. Now, so if we look at what's going on with the contract with Wilkins, right? He signed to $110 million with, what was it, 80? Let me pull it back up so I don't say it wrong. $84.75 million guaranteed. Now, from what I've heard so far, is that they already paid him $50 million of guaranteed money, and part of that was really he played 5 games and got $50 million. Right, that's $10 million a game, and then now because of this whole thing where the debate on the surgery and this thing came up several times, over the last couple of months, and there was a report that had come out that basically the Raiders wanted Christian Wilkins to get surgery. Christian Wilkins was saying, "Nah, I want to put off surgery. Let's get a second opinion," and that he wanted to play through the pain, yada yada yada, right? And this was broken by Mitchell Renz at Chat Sports, and then this whole thing started to kind of unravel and unfold where there was a debate on did Christian Wilkins already get a surgery, or did he put it off, and was he maybe going to get one now, right? And Hondo Carpenter, kind of like last week, made it kind of sound like maybe it already happened, and long story short, man, we've gotten to a point where fundamentally what came down to this is that the Raiders and Christian Wilkins could just not agree on, whether he was going to get surgery or not, and the Raiders decided to move on. And if you've noticed in that, it said that Christian Wilkins guaranteed money when they put in for that thing to be waived. It was on June 4th. June 4th. It was almost 2 months ago. It's crazy, man. Crazy. Brandon Gorman saying, "Good call, coach. We don't have time to wait." And we don't have time to wait. I feel like this is like kind of a weird spot for them to finally make that decision. I feel like they would have made that decision sooner, except that they already pulled his remaining guaranteed money on June 4th. And so all the conversation that's been going on around Christian Wilkins and his foot and the surgery and the pictures of him in a boot at that golf tournament and all this stuff that's kind of unfolded, basically it's like, why was there no conversation about this before? And the Raiders, I believe, came out and officially released him today, because today was the last day for the NFLPA to file this the grievance on behalf of Christian Wilkins, and the union did that today. And so the NFLPA union went ahead and filed this grievance on behalf of Christian Wilkins today, and then the Raiders say, "All right, there we go. You're out of here," right? What's up, Q? Good to see you, bro. We got Ralph Hernandez with the Raiders. Josh AOV, thanks for double tapping. I appreciate that. Q always hooking me up with that double tap. Thank you, bro. Thank you. So, man, this is like crazy to me, right? Because I was not expecting this at all. Like, at all. Billy Davis in the building. So, what up, Raider Nation True chat? I'm just checking in before I go to work. Hey, man, good to see you getting back to work, bro. For real, for real. Alfredo Gonzalez with the Raider Nation. What's good? What's good? Salute to you, man. Appreciate you joining us from Facebook, man. This whole thing, man, I was really confused about why did we draft two defensive tackles this year, right? I thought it was a little bit weird, but I thought maybe, okay, we're just trying to kind of build some depth and looking into the future. But I think that they kind of knew already that there was some weird things going on and how that was going to be, man. You're going to be over there tomorrow, Q? All right, dude, I'll be there, bro. What time you going to show up, man? Let me know. That way I can go up to the front. Dude, like, our defensive tackle room is basically Adam Butler right now. And there's a lot so far during training camp, the last 2 days, there's been reports that Tyree Wilson is actually looking pretty good, right? And if that is actually the case, man, maybe we're looking at Tyree Wilson being that, moving into the inside. But he really, there's a reason why he's a defensive edge, right? Like, for him to be defensive tackle, I don't know that he's going to really transition into that role full time, right? I could see a position where they have Tyree Wilson kind of, moving inside, outside, things like that. And that might be the case, right? But for him to be full time defensive tackle starter, that's just crazy, man. That's not something that I see us doing. And so I'm really wondering, like, what is this going to look like? What's our depth chart, man? I'm gonna actually pull this up real quick, man, because I could speculate or I could pull up the roster. Let's take a look at the names, man. Let's see what this looks like. AOS, thank you for double tap, double tap. I appreciate that. I respect the move. All right, cool, man. Props to the new regime, though, for being on top of it and not letting him take them for a ride, to be honest. I agree with that, man. Um, yeah, Big Cheese, Tyree Wilson has not done anything at DE, but I don't think, I don't know, man. They keep saying that he looks good and all these things, man, but I'm skeptical, man. He's got to prove it. Big Cheese, that's why we had old boy from Seattle come on for a visit. Who was it that came from Seattle? I remember seeing something, man, in passing, and I kind of overlooked it. Uh, and I think you're right, man. I think that's why they would have brought somebody like that in for a visit. Let me see if I can pull it up. Uh, it's just talking about Christian Wilkins and Jamal Adams. Showing me stuff from April. I don't know, man. If one of you guys comes up with that name, let me know, man. Let's see. C saying, I love the move. Cut the losses while they're at a minimum. And the losses are kind of big, right? But like, why wait? Especially if he's going against what the Raiders are telling him, go get this surgery, and he's just like, nah. It's like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing right now? Like, why are you just gonna say nah? Like, if they're like, hey, we want you to get this surgery, like, I kind of feel like they know what they're talking about. Mag is saying, bottom line, the Raiders now have a great leadership team. TB12 is the best thing to happen. And I agree with that, man. Quentin Jefferson. Quentin Jefferson, man. I'm actually, before we look at this roster, man, I'm going to pull up Quentin Jefferson. Quentin Jefferson. Defensive tackle. 32 years old. All right. Oh, kind of helps if I share a screen. And sorry to you guys on TikTok, man. I can't share a screen over there. I do it on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I got to run TikTok on my phone. It won't let me do it multi-stream with TikTok, man. Okay, so he was with Seattle, but most recently was with the Bills. So Quentin Jefferson, all right, let me see. Let me pull up his overview real quick. Man, all right. So he was with Seattle from 2016 to 2019. Then he went over to the Bills in 2020. He came to the Las Vegas Raiders in 2021, back to Seattle in 2022, then the Jets in 23, the Browns and the Bills in 24. So this guy's been kind of hopping around, man. And, um, honestly, I don't know too much about him. It looks like he kind of had some trouble staying healthy. So last year he played in 12 games. The year before he played in 14. The 2 years before that he played 17. So it's been a little bit hit and miss with him, right? His leading year for sacks was 6. Um, tackles, we're looking at 17. A couple of forced fumbles in there. This doesn't show tackles for loss or how he is in the run game, right? So I don't know too much about him. I definitely like the idea of bringing in another rotational piece, another depth piece, because we definitely have some dang issues, man. Alfredo, what is even available out there for free agents, man? Actually, I was looking at that list right before I went live, and it didn't Didn't look too great, right? And yeah, shot by Keith. Yeah, I don't mind it. He too injury prone. Yeah. See, Coons can ball out, and we may have a chance at affording him. Uh, now that Christian Wilkins is gone, then definitely we could afford Malcolm Coons if he does well, right? The problem that I'm having, and Luis Moreno with the share, thank you. The problem that I'm having with this, man, is that there's not really like a big name defensive tackle that we can just go make a move on at this point in the game, right? It's a little bit late for us to be in on this, and so my feeling is that we might bring in Jefferson, um, or somebody of that caliber, which is kind of like the moves that they've been making, right? They've been bringing in people that have, played well in the past or had played with Pete in the past and then kind of just fell off for a couple years and kind of coming back. We got that with Devin White. We got that with um, several players, man. And so it's kind of been the trend, right? Let's see. Kimmy, how many wins do you think we'll get this year? I think that losing Christian Wilkins definitely affects that, but I've been saying 9-8. I've been kind of as training camp is starting to unfold. I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident to say that we could get in that 10-11 win range, but I was somewhere between um, 9 and 11, right? I think our basement is 8, honestly. C is saying honest thoughts about our O line. Can keep it upright and open lanes for can keep Gino upright and open lanes for running backs. Our O line is actually pretty damn stacked. It's way better than Seattle for sure. And a lot of what was making our O line look so bad is that we had Garner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell as quarterback, Desmond Ritter, and then our running game was absolutely awful. And so when you have that going on, it's a lot easier to like stack the box. You got to make quarterbacks beat you with their arm, especially quarterbacks that weren't being able to get it done. And then Andre James is just absolutely a liability at center, and so he made the guards have to work harder to make up for his bullshit. And so with Jackson Powers Johnson being at center, that makes our whole offensive line better just right off the gate, right? And then if you look at Colton Miller, he didn't look the best last year, and part of that was that he was coming back from that shoulder surgery, and so the first 6 games he played really awful. But after those first 6 games, he was back on par for Colton Miller, and he was playing very well. So I like that. And then Jordan Meredith played absolutely great at left guard, and I think that there's competition there with Jordan Meredith and Alex Kappa, and even though Alex Kappa was like the worst guard in the NFL last year, he was also on that Bengals offensive line, which was absolute trash. And so, of course, he's going to look horrible when he's playing on a horrible offensive line. Um, Dylan Parham I think that he plays better at left guard than he does at right guard. And then DJ Glaze, man, is actually, rookie year got thrown into right tackle. And for being a rookie, he did great. He's having a full off season, full training camp, and I think that he should be ready to go. So absolutely, with Ashton Genty, Geno Smith actually being able to throw the ball, and he's mobile. Um, our offensive line is going to have way better numbers this year for sure. Sean, I was called crazy when I said Miami already had his replacement in Jack Seiler. And I knew something was up that Miami did not re-sign him. There was something that really rubbed me wrong about that, because it's like, why were we like, did we just outbid Miami, or like what happened? Like that was kind of weird. So it's starting to show through is what's happening, right? Gio wish this had worked out, but no one is bigger than the Shield, and that is exactly right, Gio. Big Cheese. What if we get that money back? Do we go get Hendricks? Hendricks. So, what's Hendricks' first name, bro? Ted Hendricks? Is that who you talking about? No, that's an old school player. Never mind. Hendricks. I can't even think of who that is, bro. Hendricks. Dwayne Hendricks. Nah, that's not what we're talking about. Bro, you're gonna have to let me know, man. Gio, you think Butler is our starter as of today? And you know what? I got sidetracked, man. Trey Hendricks from Cincinnati. Okay. Thanks, Alfredo. Man, I'm missing, bro. Trey Hendricks. I got sidetracked again, but let's just do this. He's a defensive end, though. Oh, is this the dude that like is wanting a new contract? Damn, bro. Yeah, I mean Hendrickson. That's who we're talking about. Hendrickson. That's why I was confused. Okay, yeah. Holy crap. That would be absolutely crazy. I doubt that the Bengals actually let him walk, man. You got no name, but it says, so why was he cut? Not focusing on rehab. Uh, it sounds like he wasn't focusing on rehab properly, and then he was refusing to go back into surgery, even though the Raiders said, we want you to get surgery. He had several other opinions, and all these different surgeons were saying, yes, you should have the surgery. And he said, nah. And so they said, okay, well, nah, we're going to cut you then. Let me go ahead and pull this up because I keep getting sidetracked, bro. Keep getting sidetracked, but I'm trying to keep up with the chat as well, man. Getting Hendricks, he wants a new deal, but you're right, Jorge. We would have to trade for him because he's not a free agent. Marco, what do you think about moving Tyree Wilson inside permanently? I'm wondering if there's something to this, right? Like maybe they know something, man, and that could be a possibility. But I think it would be kind of strange, man. I really, really do. Um, okay, so I have the roster pulled up right now, and our defensive tackles are Tank Booker, rookie; Adam Butler, already a starter; Zach Carter. Zach Carter actually played pretty well for us last year. I was happy he at least passed the eye test, but I don't see him as a replacement for Christian Wilkins at all. Like at all. I don't think he's that caliber. But last year he played 8 games for us, 13 tackles, 1 sack. So it was like he seemed all right. And from what I remember, I do believe he was playing pretty good against the run. That's what we really need is a run stopper, right? But besides that, we got Lecky Fotu, I already said Tonka Hemingway. Oh no, I said Tank Booker. Tonka Hemingway. Tonka Hemingway's uh, also a rookie. Jonah Lalu, who Jonah Lalu also kind of passed the eye test, but you know, not I don't know, man. Not enough that we could be like, oh yeah, that's our guy. But I mean, when players get opportunities, they do tend to step up, and either they step up or they don't. So he played 17 games for us, 35 total tackles, 1 sack. So not horrible, not 6'5", 292 pounds. He's 25 years old. So we got a couple of things kind of working for us on that. And then we got I don't even know how to say his name, Trevin May, and then JJ Pegues, who's a rookie who also doubles as a running back. So we got some like interesting things when it comes to defensive tackle. I'm not entirely convinced, you guys. I'm really really not. Okay, Sean saying Miami didn't have the money, and that was what that was about. See, oh yeah, I'm getting behind, bro. Let me try to catch up. Yeah, Hendrickson did lead the league in sacks for sure. Marco with the follow, salute, man. Win City Raider with the likes, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, the more you guys double tap, the more this gets out into the TikTok universe. That way, more people in Raider Nation can jump in with this, man. I appreciate that for real, for real. Um, but yeah, you guys. I mean, as far as free agents, and I mean, if we got Trey Hendrickson, like Hell yeah. I'm not gonna be mad about that at all. That would mean that we're definitely gonna move on from Malcolm Kuntz, right? And Trey Hendrickson, he's wanting to get paid, but we paid Christian Wilkins. He was like the second highest player on our team, and we just cut him. Like that's a little rowdy, man. So let's see what that ends up looking like. Um, NFL DT free agents. Try to look this up on the fly. We'll see how this actually looks. Spotrac might be our best bet. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, available. Oh shit. Christian Wilkins is already on the list, man. Christian Wilkins is already on that list. See, and because he is on the pup list and injured, I guess they decided that it wasn't going to be worth trying to move on from him in a trade, or maybe they had already been shopping around. Yeah, his previous average was 27.5 million a year. So it looks like they're basing this off of how much they were making on their previous contract. So the next runner up is Raekwon Davis from Indiana Colts. I'm not familiar with him at all, man. Raekwon Davis. And that kind of gets me, right? I look at this list and I'm like, I don't really know these names at all. So that doesn't really make me very excited about, you know, what they could potentially be. Yeah, Raekwon Davis's stats are just kind of, you know, he maybe gets a sack. He plays through the whole season, it looks like. Last year he had 15 tackles, 17 games played. I mean, nothing to get really excited about. Then we got Austin Johnson from Buffalo. He was making 3.5 million on average. I don't, like none of these names really pop for me, man. Hugh Glass. When does the money come back to us? So the Raiders voided the rest of his guaranteed money, which was $35 million or 34.75 or something like that, and they did that on June 4th. And so right now, the NFLPA just filed a grievance. That's the NFL union filed a grievance on Christian Wilkins' behalf. Today was the last day that they could do so, and they did that, which is why I think that we released him today, because it's like, okay, the news is out, like the jig is up. But yeah, what it really comes down to, man, is I don't know if we're going to be able to hold to that. The reason why they did that was because he had due to failure to maintain his physical condition to play. So we might end up winning that, but I don't even really know. Uh, Michael, do you think we're going to have a season worth watching? I definitely think we're going to have a season worth watching. I think that we're going to win 9 or 10 games. Our offense is going to look way better than it was, of course, right? But I think that our offense is actually going to be good. Chip Kelly is a really good offensive coordinator. He's not a great head coach. He just came from winning a national championship in college, and he's got the weapons. He's got Brock Bowers. He's got Ashton Genty. Geno Smith is an accurate quarterback who can get it done. And if that system works for Geno Smith with that good of running game, with that good of tight end room, and our wide receivers, yeah, we don't have Devontae Adams, right? But we do have a good wide receiver core, and these rookies that are coming up, man, they're good rookies. So I'm starting to get pretty excited for what this offense is going to look like. But besides that, man, Michael 10 will usually get a wild card, right? Hugh Glass with the follow. Salute. Thank you. Michael, thank you for hitting that double tap, man. 10 will usually get the wild card. You could get a wild card with 9. When you drop down to 8 wins, it's very unlikely. So, I really could see us. We're going to be a team that's fighting from week 1 for playoff contention. And I honestly believe that. Now, Whether we win a playoff game or go deeper into the playoffs, I don't really know. But I do believe that we will be a team that is in competition when it comes down to the end of the season. There's going to be talks of like, oh, can the Raiders get into the playoffs? Like, I don't think that we're going to be in a position where it's like last year, where in week 3 we were doing mock drafts. You know what I'm saying? Jason Fritz, we need double tight end sets, Bowers and Myers, or I think you're talking about Mayer on the field at the same time creates problems. And Michael Mayer, you know, it's already been clear that Chip Kelly sees ways that he can use Michael Mayer and is going to do so, right? But yeah, Michael, our division is going to be tough. But really, the Broncos, Bo Nix was playing with a fractured spine, and that's going to have an effect on him. And I don't really actually have a whole lot of faith in Sean Payton as a coach. Broncos are, Broncos and Chargers both made the playoffs last year, right? But part of that was that we were absolute dog water. Our team was trash last year. So we got swept in our division. And so that's an easy kind of walk in for them, because if the Broncos lost one more game, let's say the Broncos lost to us once, they're not in the playoffs. The Chargers, if they lost to us once, if circumstances were right, they would have still got in, but probably not. So, you have us winning a couple of games in our division, and all of a sudden those teams aren't in the playoffs. See, Kelly can learn from Pete and possibly be the successor, but I think we're going to beg Pete to stay. Pete Carroll, he's on a 3-year contract with a 4th-year team option, and Chip Kelly made it very clear in his opening presser that he doesn't really like being a head coach. He really, really loves being an offensive coordinator. And I believe that that's where he wants to be. That's where he's happy and that's where he thrives. And so I don't see Chip Kelly wanting to actually move into a head coach role, because it seemed to me from that interview that it was very clear to him that he tried it in the NFL, he tried it in college, and it just wasn't his thing. He wasn't having fun. He wasn't enjoying it. And that's what he was really emphasizing on. It's like he really was not enjoying that role. And he really enjoys being an offensive coordinator. And it's not always about the money. Sometimes it's about what makes you happy, right? Little Shaq, what's your take on the O line and the defense? I was already talking about the O line. Our O line is going to be solid because we're going to have great running back, way better quarterback, Jackson Powers Johnson instead of Andre James, and the rest of we even have some depth on our O line. So I don't think that we're going to be a top 5 or O line or anything like that, but it's definitely going to be a good, solid O line for sure. And the defense. Pete Carroll is extremely confident in our defensive backs. He was even saying that these guys look better than the Legion of Boom. He's like, I know those guys in Seattle are going to kill me for this, but he thinks that they look better. So we'll see what this looks like. Thank you for the tap me's, bro. Thank you. How do I feel about our schedule? Michael, we do have kind of a rough schedule, honestly. Our schedule is I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. I'm sorry I can't pull it up on TikTok, but I'm going to pull it up. That way I can talk for it line by line. Let's go for it. It'd help if I'm clicking the right buttons, right? Raiders schedule. So, week 1, we got the Patriots, right? And Mike Vrabel's their coach right now. And Mr. Wonderful, Raiders ain't got no wide receivers. We got Jacoby Myers, who had over 1,000 yards. We got Jack Besh, who was a 2nd-round pick, who's a very, very solid receiver. And then Dante Thornton Jr. should not have fallen to the 4th round. The dude is 6'5", runs a 4.3 40-yard dash. And I think he fell because he didn't run a full route tree in Tennessee, but in Oregon on his tape, he definitely ran a full route tree. The dude's going to be super solid. Tons of praise coming about him from OTAs and throughout training camp. And not to mention we got Brock Bowers, who also he's the NFL said he's the number 1 tight end. after his rookie year. So, and definitely no tanking this year. No tanking. All right, so back to the schedule. Patriots, Mike Vrabel, Drake May. I don't have any faith in Drake May. We lost Robert Spillane to the Patriots. F him. We're going to win. We're going to beat the Patriots. I'm not too worried about the Patriots, right? And then there's our division, right? Our divisional games, Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos. What does that look like? I think that damn, man. That one's a little bit tougher to really get a gauge on because I want to say that we split our division, but I think that we're going to be a little bit under 500. I have a feeling we'll be a little bit under 500 in our division. We'll see what that looks like. Thank you guys for tapping. I appreciate that, man. Um, yeah, Mr. Wonderful. Nothing to double up on except for Brock Bowers. You're gonna want to double Brock Bowers. And then they always have to watch out for Ashton Genty because not only is he a huge running threat, but he's also a big threat in the passing game. And so you got to watch out for Ashton Genty. You always got to watch out for Brock Bowers. And then we got Dante Thornton Jr., who can take the top off of defense, no problem. And Geno Smith is the most accurate QB for passes over 20 yards last year in the NFL. So, I mean, it really gives us great dynamic. And Chip Kelly is a really good offensive coordinator. It's gonna be good. Commanders. So the first 3 weeks is gonna say a lot, right? Because if we go in there and we beat the Patriots, we beat the Chargers, and then we walk in there the Commanders, that's gonna be a tough game, right? I don't think that they're unbeatable for us. I don't think any team is, but that's gonna be a tough game, you know. But I'm not really worried about the Bears too much in week 4. The Colts, not really too worried. Um, it's not an awful schedule. Titans, you know what I'm saying? Jaguars, Browns, and Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? What are we going to have? Shador Sanders over there? 5th-round or 6th-round quarterback. He fell so far in that draft, man. And then it's a little bit more. Texans are kind of tough. Eagles are kind of tough. Giants, Russell Wilson. I'm not too worried about that. I have a friend that's a Giants fan. He's like, I was giving him shit about Jackson Dart throwing the pick on his first pass in training camp. And he's like, Russell Wilson's going to take us to the Super Bowl. It's like, that worked so well for the Broncos and the Steelers. So, but yeah, our schedule is not easy, and that's why I have us more like nine wins, maybe 10. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not too overly worried about it, to be quite honest with you. Jeffrey, what's good, man? Christian Wilkins gone. Maybe a Trey Hendrickson trade, man. And that is a possibility. That is. I don't know what I saw from Drake Mayo and his rookie season. He was pretty solid. He is pretty solid, but I don't know, man. He's got Josh McDaniels calling the plays over there, right? And yeah, he was Tom Brady's coordinator. But then what? After that, Mac Jones got to a Pro Bowl his rookie year, and then after that fell off. I don't know, man. I don't know if Josh McDaniels is what's going to solve anything for anybody. You know what I'm saying? Little Shaq, he earned a follow, bro. Hey, salute to you, man. I appreciate that. Just win, baby. Michael, do you think we'll see some started in preseason? I think that we're going to get to see everybody play in preseason. I'd be very surprised if we don't have reps from absolutely everybody. Now, I don't think that they're going to really have Ashton Genty, running for a whole quarter, or Geno Smith, throwing for the 300 yards or nothing like that, right? I think that we're going to see a little bit kind of from everybody, but, I think that Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers and Geno Smith and Ashton Genty and those kind of players, Max Crosby, are probably going to only play a couple snaps, right? Jason, we need to run heavy, keep the other offense off the field, then have the D make a couple plays. And that was a big thing that was getting our defense last year, is that our defense was just ran so damn ragged because our offense just could not stay on the field properly, right? And so definitely going to be a whole lot better because of our running game alone. I have a lot of faith in Ashton Genty, and also, I mean, nobody's talking about Raheem Mostert, but 2 years ago he led the league in touchdowns. He had 23 touchdowns. I mean, we're pretty set up in our running game. Finally, Jeffrey, if the offensive line to be solid, we will win 10 to 11 games. Geno Smith have one of the worst offensive lines last year. Now, Jeffrey, our offensive line is, I'm going to say, top 15. I think that we have a very solid offensive line. I like the way it's looking now that Andre James is out of the picture. And really, our left guard and right guard are only up for debate because we have depth and there's competition in there. Not to mention we got a couple rookies that we just picked up that could be fighting for that job. So there's a whole lot to look forward to. I mean, up and down the board. The only spot I was really worried about was our DBs, but Pete Carroll's out here saying that our DBs look better than the Legion of Boom guys, which he might eat his words on that one, man. But Pete Carroll seemed very confident. He came out with the presser 2 days ago, and he's like, basically, he's like, I always win at least 10 games. What are you guys talking about, man? Re-sign Miller immediately. Maybe now we got some more opened up money for Colton Miller and Jacoby Myers, man. We'll see how that goes. Michael with the follow, salute, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, Pete Carroll does like Darian Porter Jr. He said he's performing exactly the way that they thought that he should or would, right? And so that's dope, man. Michael, thanks for the updates. I'll be looking out for you in the coming weeks. I appreciate that, man. Salute to you. Raider Reaper, it wouldn't be a Raiders offseason without some drama, but I wish Wilkins the best. Man, and I know, dude, we've done so good not having some dumb drama. The biggest drama was Christian Wilkins is wearing a boot at a golf tournament, and then there's a video of him dancing that was released, yesterday, day before? So it's like it all looked super good until training camp, and boom! Here we go, man. Here we go. Tristan, how do you feel about getting the best in nation, Jamal Adams? So, Jamal Adams was actually out there in training camp today, and he was not playing with the safeties. He was actually out there with the linebackers, which is actually really good because Jamal Adams, he's a dude that you want on the line of scrimmage, right? A couple years back, he had 9 sacks. Raider Reaper with the follow, salute. I appreciate that. So, we want Jamal Adams not to be in coverage. We want him to be, run stopping. We want him to be putting pressure on that quarterback, man. Jeffrey, now you see what happened to my Browns. How you go to draft a running back in the second round and he gets arrested. I mean, dude, that hurts, bro. I did see that. And I haven't seen any news about your guys' quarterback situation over there with Shador Sanders and all that whole mess. Hey, thank you guys for the double taps. Tristan said Justin Herbert is going to be shaking in his boots now that the best in the nation is back on the West Coast. What are we talking about, man? You talking about Jamal Adams, or what are you talking about? SoCal Slime, what's good? What's good, man? Over here with the Justin Herbert pick, laughing with some brooms. I mean, you guys swept last year, but I wouldn't even be confident about that this year. I wouldn't, man. Justin Herbert he's a stat patter. He's a stat patter. That's what it comes down to. Is he doesn't play. His stats don't come in at the right time. You know what I'm saying? It's like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott always has great stats, but he always just doesn't actually perform when he needs to get those wins. This is what it is, man. It is what it is. So, look, you guys have been a great chat tonight. We're 45 minutes in, and I told my kid I was just going to jump on real quick. because I told him since yesterday that tonight was, I was going to spend time with him, but he was cool about it. He said, "All right, just don't take too long, Dad." And here I am taking too long, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and go play with my kid, man. Family always has to come first. But we had this breaking news. I had to jump on with you guys. You guys have been a great chat on Facebook, on YouTube. Um, SoCal Slime saying, "Leave a like, y'all. I appreciate that, and hit that sub. Hit that sub, hit that follow. Like always, I love you, nation. I'll catch you guys on the next one."